What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the BMW X3 M40i. It is not mine, it's Chelsea's. She spec'd it, she bought it new, she ordered it, whatever you want to call it. But yes, brand new, spec'd out herself. Very nice spec, I may say so myself. White exterior. She went with the black stitching, or sorry, the black leather with the blue stitching. So as you can see on these seats, it's got all like the M insignias and whatnot on it. You have the little M stitching stuff right into the seats as well. So I think it looks really nice. However, there's a couple things that I don't really like about this car. Overall, it's pretty solid. I actually really enjoy driving it. The performance is much better than her last X3. Obviously, it was a base X3, but you know, it's that much more fun to drive and enjoy because it's the M40i version. And well, today though, we are going to talk about the top 5 things that I hate about this car. Now the very first thing is the start-stop engine. I hate. So there's this little button here, and you can see that it's not lit up. So if we come up to this light and we stop, you'll see the RPM range. They drop. The car just shut off right there, right? So the car shut off. Well, what happened is, if you're sitting here long enough, it will turn back on because the AC actually needs the engine running and all that jazz. So it's just kind of annoying. In her other car, if you click this button, watch, it turns on. So this basically kills the auto on-off. It turns it off. So the one thing that bothers me is that it doesn't, when you turn that off and then you get out of the car and you get back in the car and turn the car back on, it just resets to defaulting as auto on-off is on. Sorry, that's a lot of like ons and offs and whatnot. But basically what I'm saying is, by default, that feature to shut the engine off is always on, and you have to turn it off every time you get in the car if you don't want to have that happen, or you have to put the car into sport mode. If we hit the sport button, you can see up here it goes to sport. We can go to plus, and obviously the engine stop is off and we're in sport mode. But if we turn the car off, wait for it, we open the driver's door and then we get back in. We put our foot on the brake and we go ahead and start her up. What do you know? This is back on, and we can also see here that we're in comfort mode. So that's basically the gist of what I'm talking about. Like, I just want it to stay in whatever I either left it on last or make it part of a driver profile. So it's just like, you can't just leave it by default turned off. Like, I just want to shut it off. I just want the car to stay on the whole time. I don't want the start stop thing. You know, I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. I just want it on all the time. And actually, Chelsea feels the same way. She wishes she could just keep it on. On her last car, it would just stay on. So that's probably the first thing. Now the second thing goes right in line with this. I like driving it in sport mode, but half the time I'm just too lazy to hit the button and I just don't think about it. But sport mode is, it's like night and day. It's a lot peppier. It holds higher revs longer. That way you're always in like the proper power band, if you will. Well, it's obviously much nicer, and well, I think it's a lot more fun. Also, you get like the little burbles and the exhaust note, which we'll get to that in a second, but I want it to be in sport mode. The other thing is, when you turn the car off and you turn it back on, it defaults to comfort mode every single time. Like, I wish you could make it a driver profile thing. So similar to the auto on off with the engine, the sport mode right down here, you got to push one of these buttons, sport, comfort, or eco pro. You got to push those buttons and change the mode you're in every single time you get in the car. I know these are like mini things to like nitpick at, but it's just weird. Like, why can't BMW just make it a driver profile? Just set it as a driver profile and then you're good, you know? Like, I don't want to have to turn it on and off every single time I get in the car. I like driving in sport mode. I want my driver profile to be sport mode, and then, well, obviously sport mode is automatically by default. Auto start stop is off. But point being, you get what I'm saying. Make it part of a driver profile. Now, if you can make it as part of a driver's profile, I haven't read the owner's manual. I haven't looked into it too much. My understanding is you can't, but maybe you can. So if you can, let me know in the comments, and I'm basically just an idiot. But those two things sort of bother me, that you have to hit those like buttons every single time if you want auto start stop to be off, or if you want sport mode to be on. Yeah, so those are probably the first two things, and the most obvious things, because that's like part of normal everyday driving. Now, the next thing is going to be the valves in the exhaust. So with this exhaust, similar to actually my Aston Martin V8 Vantage, if you haven't seen that car, just check out most of my other recent vlogs. I bought it recently. But the point is, there's valves, and these valves shut at lower RPMs, which makes the exhaust note quieter. And I guess they did it for, you know, noise restrictions and things like that. But like, I don't know, like, why can't they put a switch in the car so you can open it? It's just like little things like that. Now, apparently, there is a fix for this, a more permanent fix. And that is, you start the car up and you make sure that the valve is open and you pull a fuse, and then it remains in the open position. So my understanding is that on cold start, those valves are open. So if you can turn it on and pull it quickly, the valve will then stay open and your car will always be sounding good. But yeah, I hate that car manufacturers do that. They probably have to do that, so, you know, I guess you can't really blame them. It's just kind of annoying, and I want the car to sound nice. Now, the fourth thing kind of goes right along with this, and that's the engine noise, the fake engine noise. So just like on the BMW i8, my understanding is on this car as well, they pump in some fake engine noise, the burbles and cracks and exhaust note. Half of it's fake, half of it still does sound good, because clearly when you're on the outside of the car, unless they're pumping external speakers as well, it still sounds good on startup. So like the exhaust note still has the potential to sound good. I just think that when you're actually driving the car and you're inside the car, you hear it a lot more because they're pumping it through the speaker system. And it's just kind of annoying. Like, I get it, you bought a sporty car so you want to hear it, but then why not just, I don't know, get rid of that valve, or put a button that gets rid of the valve or whatever, and you actually hear the engine. I mean, the other thing is, if you want to make the car quiet, fine, I'll put my windows down to hear the engine. But like, I don't know, there's just something about knowing that they're actively pumping fake noise into the cabin that is just kind of like weird and odd. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. So might be dumb again, but hey guys, this is my YouTube video and I can really do whatever I want. So if you guys are enjoying it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. But I digress. Now, the fifth and last thing that I just kind of bothers me about the BMW as well, is the infotainment system. It's the same infotainment system that they've had for years, and I don't know, it's okay, but it's not super intuitive. Once you get the hang of it, it's fine, but like, I don't know, it took me like 5-10 minutes the other day to get like my phone set up on Bluetooth, and once I figured it out, I was like, okay, that makes sense. But it just wasn't super intuitive. Same thing with like navigating between Apple CarPlay or not Apple CarPlay. Point being, I'm not a huge fan of it. I will say I am really impressed that they made it touchscreen finally. It's much easier, because that knob to navigate this infotainment system is a pain. That's probably the worst part. The fact that they added touch helps a lot, because it's like, I'm looking at this screen. I have no idea. I guess Pop 2K is selected, but it's like, what if I want to go back? What do? I don't know. But here I see the home button. I can just push the home button and it goes home. Like, that's so much easier. Like, yes, thank you. That's exactly what I want to do. Now I have a menu here. But the point is, that is not intuitive. So without that touchscreen in 2020, I think the 2019 might have had touch up here, but they had an analog dash. But yeah, either way, I still just don't like the infotainment system. I'm not a huge fan, so that's that's just kind of an ongoing thing I have. Either make it super simple, or just like, I don't know, just make it more intuitive or something. Like my Aston Martin, it's a 2007, obviously it's much more analog, it's very easy, but even my Tesla, I just feel like it was very intuitive. Like, the main menu for everything is at the bottom left-hand corner, and then you have the selection of everything along the left-hand side. And then the other stuff, there's just like a menu bar at the bottom. I don't know. I guess you have to learn all this stuff at least once, and then once you figure it out, it's easy. But sorry, I'm ranting about an infotainment system. Point being, those are the 5 things that I don't really like about this car. But overall, I will say the car is fantastic. I do really like what they've done with the vehicle. I love The new driver's dash starting in 2020. The 2019s were like analog. This is all digital now, which is fantastic. You get like your map here, you get your tachometer, your speedometer, and you get a bunch of things. You can actually scroll through this and it changes. This is now a touch screen. You get all the little M doodads, M down there. You get the M stitching. So like overall, fantastic car, but like just those tiny things, like why couldn't they fix it? This is the biggest thing. This and the sport button just really get to me. But either way, if you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel would really help me out. Would really appreciate it. But until next time, guys, thanks for watching.